The film you're about to see was made 50 years ago, taken by 4 amateur photographers. The first, part 1, was taken by Bill Tucker, my father, and myself, and part 2 was taken by Lionel Sims and his son Philip. This is picking up dirt by scoop, which we had to do because it was carted in by trailers. We had no way of getting up on the banks because at that particular time we'd have rain the mornings were clear and rain in the afternoon. So the trailers were brought in. Trucks you couldn't get there because they would have got bogged. So they unloaded with shovels, carted up on the bank by Fergie tractors, and then tipped. Bob Mapey is the one picking up the handle then. As people who operated scoops, we got to know which were good scoops and which weren't good. Now this one nearest the camera wasn't the best. There's Keithy Tamlin, Steve Gasparic on the tractor. And so you tip your scoop of dirt and that would add another 3 or 4 inches to the height of the bank. And it was just a continual job. This is taken on the end of Calgoa Street around Rex Mosel's property, around his house. As you can see, the bank was very close. And a term that we used, bogged to the udder. And so one Fergie got bogged, but the beauty of them was it only took another Fergie to pull them out. Shoveling dirt, just to make the bank that bit wider. This is our... Put Glenn Manning with a dark coat on, Eric Holliday, Peterson, Ken Peterson, I've forgotten the other chap, Koshel, Clem Koshel there. Clearing the site for this great wall of chafing. And McPherson from Coulton with his saw bench and tractor. Here we have a tractor that sat aside the flood bank. Ken Peterson with his backside towards us. A lot of discussion how to get it off. Because you're sitting up on a bank, how would you retrieve it? Taken in at the hospital after the bank broke there. The films aren't in perfect order, as it took around about 20 of these little spools to make up the film, and they haven't been put in the correct order. Now, I believe that was the nurses' quarters, but this is going back 50 years, and the hospital doesn't look greatly like that today. Rowrell Avenue, looking from just outside the hospital gates back into Renmark. This is the days before we had dual carriageway through the town. And coming around the houses on Rowrell Avenue, facing Rowrell Avenue in the Hale Street area, opposite the hospital. One of the houses of Taylors. And then we ventured in to the Oval. Well, you could have played water polo. This is one of the homes on, I can't remember the name of the little street running into the Oval, or the Oval gates. The Tinter Tennis Club, the Wood Pavilion. I'm in a boat here, tin boat, 12 feet long, 2 of us, and we strapped a tractor tube on the front of it in case we ran into difficulties. The tennis club rooms, clubhouse. Coming around to the scoreboard. Now that's disappeared. The cycle track there around the oval. And the water going over the Railrail Avenue. Here we are back at the Growers Distillery Bridge with the traffic coming across. It was the only road bridge left to get in and out of Renmark. They stopped the traffic one night and laid sheets of steel over the decking and then added another 18 inches of soil to it. They were frightened that the vehicles would go through with the water and that rotting the timbers underneath. In the Angove winery area, where Angove's had a break in their bank, but with the cash crew and their own employees, they managed to save the premises, but they did end up with about a foot of water through it. Renmark Wharf, river grows on the backside on the right-hand side. Here we are filling sandbags. They made a big stock of sandbags there, so if anywhere that there was a break or likely to be a break, they could load them up very quickly and run them around the town to put in the necessary holes that were where water was coming through. There was a break around the back of the oval that nobody noticed overnight, and these tractors came down and or these dozers came down and filled in the gap. Merv Gerswich is in that one there now. He was a grower out at Coulton on a D6. This is taken along Goolwa Street, Fred Burr's property on the corner of Goolwa and Railrail Avenue, looking over to the high school house. The Environment Centre was there in the middle now, and some of the buildings at the high school. The water tower in the background of the town. The high school flood bank broke overnight, and this was the consequences of it. Frank Trigg ran a business from there, and that's Arch Grosvenor and Ron Trigg, his son. This was taken with an army duck, came in to rescue some of the equipment and things out of the school. The students were then bused to Glossop, to the Glossop High. There's a rotary hoe that didn't make it. And this is Sid Burr's property opposite, on the other side of the road to the high school. It's now owned by Katsaris. Back around Hanbers Corner with the State Bank and the Commonwealth Bank. Looking out Railrail Avenue towards the hospital area. That chap there was, Jack Winder was there in that photograph. Merv Gerswich again on his little D6. Ken Peterson on the bank. And Jack Winder in the leather coat. Growers around Chaffey and Coulton. Back at the Renmark Wharf area, the old fire station in the background. no longer there, and getting onto the Hambers Corner. That was the wharf before the peak. That's what remained of the Women's Bowling Club, and where that clubhouse is about where the tourist office is now. Through the hotel lawns, hotel gardens it were, very nice gardens in those days. And looking up over the men's bowling green, and they didn't get flooded. I wonder why. And Murray Avenue. Looking downstream towards Sonneman's from the hotel area. The Renmark Hotel. That was the flood bank at the back of River Growers' store. It went straight through the building. Tom Forbes's boat, the Daphne, and it came out the other side and went behind the Bank of New South Wales, which is Westpac now. The fire station. One of Schwarzkopf's trucks that went down a hole and it shouldn't have. And with the help of another machine, out it comes. Fred Burr's property, when the high school bank went, that shed's still standing today. And the high school headmaster's house. And the back view of Fred Burr's house, which is still there. RITX. That used to be what they called the high school shop. That went under. Now this is on a Rumper Street, because when the flood bank went at the high school, they hurriedly put up a bank along a Rumper Street, and that went the full length of Rumper Street through to the cemetery, and then back on to 21st Street, Cucamonga, and then 21st. This is on the corner of 21st, Bookmark Avenue and Cucamonga. Huck Stepp's house. And the little house on Cucamonga Street, I believe that burnt down a few years ago. An army duct. Had rescued some gear out of the high school. Carry all, and got the machine out. That was Buller Shattuck, the watermaster from Chafee. Looking from the hospital back into the town, Railroad Avenue, and the little bridge between the town and the hospital collapsed, and they put in a Bailey Bridge there overnight. The substation out on Railroad Avenue, out where the first blocks are, looking back over the bridge on Railroad Avenue that collapsed. That's at Moray Park Corner Railway Crossing, and that was the train that went from Paringa to Renmark and Renmark to Paringa. Back at the fire station area, The old wharf area, which is gone now, a couple of years ago, was dismantled. Forbes's boat, looking down towards the hotel, the bowling greens. "30 feet all out. Unloading dirt in the town area. I believe that's somebody wood. Around the bowling greens. One of Dyer's trucks, dragging dirt off, was quicker than the shovel. In those days there weren't many tip trucks in the town. That's Murray Dyer again on one of their semi-trailers. Eventually that trailer was banned from coming into Renmark because they thought the Growers Distillery Bridge wouldn't stand the weight. That's one of the army ducks. It was in Renmark to help evacuate areas. Barry and I did a trip down the river in front of Renmark, and you can see there, that's the industry 50 years ago. And behind it was Bill Douglas's boat. He lived on that boat. Now, big Bill Douglas living on the boat, each morning he would get up with his tape measure and measure from the side of the boat down to the water, and he was convinced there was no flood. The river never rose. The old rowing shed, you can see a tractor working in the background, and there's the state bank with the sandbagging. The Sturt Memorial's in there. The rowing shed again. There's the white posts of the wharf. Of course, the wharf's been reconstructed now. The old State Bank. A new building's gone up since. Amber's in the background. The Ozone Theatre, and the right-hand side is the Renmark Club. That's a totally different looking building now. But after 50 years, we all look a little different. You can see the tube in the foreground of the film. That's we had it tied to the front of our tin boat, just in case emergency happened. The hotel had a wonderful garden display there, but the 56 flood ruined it. The ladies' bowling green, that's about the site of where the tourist office is now. Renmark on a very busy Saturday morning during the peak of the flood. On your right hand side is your Dunder Farmers, Clark's, of course motor cars that are 50 years older. And the entrance to the post office, they'd sandbagged around that just in case the banks went. And the lawns down through the centre of the town, they were stacked with sandbags in case of emergencies. And it was missed. Merv Gerswich on the little machine on the left-hand side. They were two D7s and a D6. And there's Merv there, a grower from Coulton.
This is water going under the distillery bridge on Renmark Avenue, very close to the base of the bridge. And that sign out there says dry weather road only. That's Ango's in the background. Still looking across that area there, looking more towards Ango's now. And that's the W.E. Wood Pavilion, and this is the show hall. There's the grandstand at the Oval. More of the Oval. And Ron Rosenberg, Wolf, Chittleborough. These are the cars that were caught when the bridge that was between the town and the hospital collapsed. The army had to put up a boaty bridge. Adelaide sent flights up because people wanted to see what the flood looked like from the air. This is the flood bank around Ango's, that was. This is the Renmark High School. There it is. The headmaster's residence, and looking from the high school into town, that's what Rowell Avenue is like. See, this is going across the Paringa Bridge. And this is Paringa from the train. The Education Department had a temporary school over there. That's the bank around the Carroll. This is the Renmark High School gates. And there I am on a boat going out with a local fisherman, Ken Corston, who was going in there. I went in there to get my woodwork model, which was still in the Woodwork Centre. Here I am bringing it out, but 50 years on it's still not finished. Here's the main entrance to the hospital. Flood's receding now, but leaving the lovely mess that it did. And this is after the flood. The Rowell Bridge had collapsed as a result of the flood. Interesting the way it was built with all those little skinny legs on it. It would have had to have taken a lot of heavy traffic in its time. And that's the 1956 flood as Well, Arnold and I saw it.